Long time ago, I had my dream job. That was life for me. I made it to my dream job, and then it all fell apart. And that was probably the point the point in my life where I said, I'm never going to work for anybody ever again. I realized very quickly how my dream became my nightmare. And then I realized exactly what I would never do to other people.
We can all put on a face, especially right now with being on social media. You can be somewhere in your own little corner and you can portray yourself as this expert, flawless human being. But in reality, everyone who is achieving something in life, they're on a road to get somewhere. I get asked often by people like, okay, if I have an idea, I want to do something in life, I'm sick of this job. How do I get moving in the right direction as far as doing something in business?
You'd be you'd be way more willing to work for way less money if you at least liked what you did versus something you hate. If it's something you hate, it doesn't matter if they pay you all the money in the world. You're not going to want to do it. There was never a solution there. So I always tell people when they start those businesses or when just find something you like or you won't be miserable stuck doing.
There are certain people that I observe who are in business and they're going through a lot of crap. And you're like, they don't seem like they're stressed. They're like, I'll figure it out somehow. Have you over time developed certain way of your thought process, how you deal with that?
But if you drop the ball a little bit, the biggest thing is I messed up. One step forward, two steps back, I'm gonna have to go fix that. Did you stress over that? You still had to fix it. You still had to do it. So what was the point of all the stress?
Whenever I talk about something that I failed or I got wrong, people appreciate it and they say, you know what, you're more relatable when you share those things. And this is something that I can actually learn from because we can all put on a face, especially right now with being on social media. You can be somewhere in your own little corner and you can portray yourself as this expert, flawless human being. But in reality, everyone who is achieving something in life, they're on a road to get somewhere. You're going to fail. I mean, that's just part of the process.
Well, of course. I mean, think about how many times you can, and we've all tried to take the perfect photo. We can all just edit it and edit and edit. It doesn't have to be anything until we say it is. And then we all wake up out of bed in the morning and go, oh my gosh, could have used an extra hour of sleep today. And that's that thing. And there's that Facebook. The Facebook thing's interesting too, because I have that depression that came from Facebook, from scrolling. And you can literally just, because you look at everything you see is a snapshot into 1 second of that person's best day of their best life. And you're sitting here like, I have whatever issues going on in my life. And you might have 5 that aren't that big of a deal, but they feel really overwhelmed. You're like, oh, Susie's on vacation again. Oh, Caribbean. I can't afford the Caribbean. That looks nice. But you only see that one glistening bit. You never saw the part where they went through all the pain to get there. You just see that little itty bit. It makes you feel just so minuscule when it's not real.
Or they're out on the Caribbean and in the hotel room they're fighting. They're about to get divorced.
That's what I'm saying. You want to get
you never know what's going on.
They're fighting to death in the thing, and the credit card bounced. They went to 7 to get into the room, and then the husband never came back. He's still at the bar, vice versa. I don't know, whatever. You never see any of that. But at the end of it is, off in the Caribbean with my husband, having a great time, or with my wife. That's what you're doing. That's all you ever see.
Yeah.
And that was that. But you got all that information from that one little scroll. You know what I mean? And then they get to move on your friend Brian, who's at the world's greatest show and happens to have the best tickets. And you're like, I didn't get to go to a concert this week,
Yeah.
So there's all those little bits. But
yeah, so I was talking with, what's his name? Garrett Conrad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, do you know Dallas? I'm like, Dallas? Who? No, because I've been in Auburn for 4 years now, over 4 years. He's like, yeah, he told me about the Yeti Tavern. So now I'm going to have to go check it out. I can't believe I haven't made my way there yet.
Listen, man, you look like you're in better shape than me. If you want to look like this, it's a reverse gym. You can go there.
I'll take my kids though.
Perfect.
Yeah.
They love sugar.
Yeah.
Take them Saturday night, 8 o'clock, right before they close. They'll never go to sleep.
Oh boy.
Yeah. No. I like Garrett a lot. He does the IFC. And I always see, I think even from the very beginning when we first moved here, I always see, I became friends with him somehow through my wife, and I always see their posts, and he's always out there doing stuff. And then I've seen him at events, and I like seeing all the people at events, man. That's my favorite. And you get to see people that keep coming up in the fake life, the Facebook life. You get to see him in real life, and it's great, man.
Yeah, he's pretty active. He's on the board at the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh yeah. I didn't win, but it's okay. We'll talk about
What happened?
That was nominated for like 2 awards, and I didn't win. I was all hyped. I paid to go to the dinner. I mean, go to dinners like that. And I knew over the dinner. It's a great story. It's super fun.
So
That dinner.
tell me a little bit about the Yeti Tavern. Is this your idea, or
Are we starting? Am I just
Yeah.
starting?
We're just, I just usually
together.
just
That's fine. It's all good.
yeah.
It's all good. So the Yeti Tavern. What to tell you about it? It's an ice cream store. It came about for the simplest of reasons. We didn't have. Let me go back. So when you have a small town and you always want to go through, and like my biggest thing from coming to Auburn, this is more of a complex story. Hold 1 second. It's gonna be a complex story. So when we were coming to Auburn, we used to come here for breakfast. It was a weird thing. I lived in a city. I lived in Citrus Heights at the time. I had moved out from Napa, and I think if you don't have a sense of community, you'll go searching for that community. And I think that's what's happened to myself. My partner and I ended up coming out here, and we were always here for breakfast. It was just really weird. Eventually it becomes once a week, then twice a week, and 3 times a week. Then are we in Auburn more than we're home? Maybe. And we were searching for that community, and that's how we ended up here in the simplest of ways. And along with that, you're trying to identify a town. And one of the things you look for is you're looking for, well, I really like it here, and I appreciate what others have done. So like I want to be part of that. And how do you become a part of it? You start with a Google search, because that's what you always do. It's not that simple. But we were looking for things that we could participate in town. At the time, I was working a lot more, so it had to be something fairly simple. And it was so weird that there was just no ice cream shop in town. And it was so bizarre to me that like, how does this town have no like dedicated ice cream shop? We have the soft serve places, and they're all wonderful and they all serve a purpose, and that's great. But there was just no ice cream store. Like it seemed like a very classic like check mark to be missing.
Well, are you like a really like a lover of ice cream? Is that or what? How did you come to see that, to observe that?
I swear I was joking about the Google search, but like literally the simplest way to find something you're going to do is you look for, I guess top 10 things everybody needs. You're looking for community. So community's been defined, and we've searched for community, and we found community. And then what does the community need? And sometimes it's so simple to start at the top, and it sounds ridiculous, but you do that and you just say, wow, like I didn't realize we were missing this. And then maybe I'm missing this. And then it goes a step further, you find anything. And we found this ice cream shop concept that there wasn't one. And I was like, well, what's it mean to me? And originally it started as a cookie shop. We were originally going to do this cookie thing, similar to kind of crumble cookies, but that whole thing took off, and I saw through it as not being the answer. But it just seemed, I like ice cream. Everyone likes ice cream. Most people. Maybe they're not the lactose intolerant. They don't love ice cream, but I like ice cream. It's fine. But it conjured up these memories for me of being a kid. And going back to the community thing, I always remember being a kid, and my favorite thing was you could go to the ice cream store, and there's all this stuff, but you can taste everything. And as a kid, there's not very many places you can experience something. Like as parents, we can go to the bar. We could try a drink. We could go buy something for the store that we think we're going to like and experience. But as a kid, you're very limited. So when your parents take you something, you find excitement in things that aren't the same thing adults find. You find excitement in weird little things. Like my kid thinks it's super cool to take the wrapper off the straw. Like you and I are like, well, this little wrapper, like it's a pain in the ass. They're excited about just the operation. They got to do that because something they could accomplish, but it's also just a fun experience as a kid. So living that like childhood, they get to go to the ice cream shop, they get to try samples of stuff. And then it really clicked for me like why it mattered. It mattered because this is so much more. This is that memory that kid's going to have. Like there is, at some point in time, we were all children and we did stuff, and it's fine. You have your childhood, you had your parents, and that's all great. But there's moments of your life, if you look at them, and they're very like odd moments you'll remember. But when you can write yourself into someone's odd moments, there's a kid's first time at our ice cream store getting ice cream. Like that's the first time they ever had ice cream. And they're going to go through and they're going to grow up. They're 2, and then this year they're 3, and then next year they're 4, and then they're 7. And they get to remember that like this was their ice cream shop. that's the thing I love, and that's the thing we tried to make.
Wow.
So it wasn't, ice cream is great, but that's so much better than ice cream. And so I think once I found that, and my partner and I found that was the image we sought for when we did the ice cream store. And then there's a ton of other components about it, but that's the part that I hold on to, I guess.
So what about the brand, the Yeti,
brand.
the brand? Yeah.
The brand, you need a gimmick, man. Everyone needs a gimmick. So I've already found my personal drive. And then we just need something interesting. We thought it sounds so ridiculous. We started out with everything was gold country. We were very gold country, which is great. I think it's wonderfully fun. But my biggest pet peeves are when you walk into an ice cream store and everything's white.
Yeah.
I just can't stand it. Like I don't.
It's not really comforting. It's cold, kind of
it's
cold.
Cold and weird and I get it. Ice cream sticky and people want to clean stuff and I get it, but like it's just very like. I don't know. It could be the nicest marble place in the world, but it always feels too utilitarian. And then it gets away from that concept of someone experienced this, like this was the experience. It was weird. So we wanted something that was outside the box. We obviously have the Gold Rush thing. We had originally like the Cold Rush and other things. And if it feels too clip art, I don't want to do it. So I have a weird image of, like just really just staply stuff that's a little too corny, I think takes away the realism and the fun of something that's not real. Like I want you to be able to experience and think whatever you may of it. But so we talk about Sasquatch. Like Sasquatch is cool. Kids like Sasquatch. Like that's weird. But then it's like Sasquatch is brown, like brown, deserty trees. I don't know. It didn't have a feel for ice cream. So we came with the Yeti and we literally went with just the Yeti. People still think we sell coolers to this day, by the way. I think they're upset. They come in, they're like, "Can I get a Yeti cup?" I'm like, "We don't sell those." They're like, "Oh, just ice cream and beer. Weird. Never mind." But it's they've definitely dominated the brand. But we went with that because it was something different. We did this weird Himalayas theme, and it's none of it's accurate to anything. It's close enough, I guess. But it's just supposed to take you somewhere that's not here. Because if it's not here, we all know what Auburn's like, and if it's somewhere else, they can imagine whatever they want. And they can really have that wonderful experience. Like it's just a freedom for thought is all it is.
So is it the setting that is that experience, or is it like the way you get served the ice cream? I
think it's the setting. Like I would love for if I had unlimited resources and it was enough of a thing where I could really go away with it. I would love to get a Disney-esque. It'd be great if we could make it that. But it's like we just don't have that yet. Maybe in the future, the city will support that. And that would be a wonderful thing to achieve. And I'd be the first one to tear down anything and rebuild it better if it was going to be that level of experience. I would love to. But I think it's just something different that you have something outside your normal surroundings to make it even better. And that's all it is. It's supposed to add to the experience.
So what year did you guys open that place up?
22?
22, so that's already after COVID.
Yeah, so we're at the tail end we're after COVID. COVID was finally coming to an end, and I think we were the first place to bring back taster spoons of anything because I couldn't do without it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was right after COVID, and people thought I was probably crazy. But again, I didn't do it for the money. We did it for the community. It was really just
Did you notice like success right away, or did it really take some time for people to find out about it and start coming in?
No, it was a win. I think it was a win right away. There's still people finding out about it. We have a tragic disconnect of people in our town that do not go outside, or I don't blame them. I think there's just a point where the business owners who are trying very hard, and there's some wonderful business owners, but I think there's a chunk of us that got real comfortable. And just people bypassed us. They literally said, my city I live in is very nice. It's very quaint. Doesn't have what I need. I'm going to go to Roseville. And I think that's the battle that a lot of us business owners are fighting back, is to bring back, it's cool to go downtown. It's cool to come to Old Town and experience as a resident. So I think we have that little battle. But for the most part, people liked it. And the gratitude people gave for just, thanks for bringing anything. That was a win for me. You know what I mean? And it was wonderful. It was
cool.
Great. I mean, I would call that a success.
Yeah.
We will stay open. We're financially okay. I mean, no one's getting rich off ice cream shops. I've never seen any Fortune 500 ice cream shops. But if I could be the first one, I'm super into it. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's there. It makes money. It employs 3 people. It does its job. I mean, it's done everything I wanted to do.
That's awesome. So that was not enough for you. Now you had to do something else. Now you had to, you went for the Wells Fargo building on the corner that was for sale for almost 2 years.
It's been for sale for like 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I think it went up for sale.
They like took it down or something because
they took it down and put it back up. And it's the guy that bought it's an investment guy. I have no problem with him. He was very nice through the process. It just took us a while to see eye to eye. But yeah, I've been interested in that building forever. I just couldn't stop. I don't know. And I've looked at all the other buildings we had in town for sale. I've like checked everything out. But something about that building spoke to me. I don't know.
What's a great location?
It's the middle of town.
Yeah.
You know me, like my big kick is that community, and I want to do my part, and I would love to be recognized, not in like a popularity way. I would love to see that I did as much as I could for our community, to be a participant.
What do you think is the biggest obstacle for you to achieve that? Whatever your vision is.
The biggest obstacle? Oh man, that's a tough one. Currently, it's probably PG&E. A little much, but
they're obstacle for everybody, for us builders.
That battle. But I think it's our downtown environment. I think it's getting residents back on board, and it's not. We can build great stuff. I am all for building stuff and attracting tourism. I am all for, going that extra mile to like get those parts of the market. It just seems that for some reason it's so much easier to get this market that isn't even our own local market, that's a hurdle for me. And I was really just in a meeting about 5 minutes ago. We were talking about how do you connect residents in our town kind of back together? You know what I mean? I get a ton of local customers, and anything I open will be local people for sure, and they're wonderful supporters. It's great, but for people not to know that there's businesses that exist in town, it kind of like breaks my heart a little bit. You know what I mean? And for them to not understand the hardship business owners go through, it just shows you there's this disconnect, and I don't know. I never know how to close it. I never even know exactly what it is.
Do you think it's maybe the business owners aren't really doing what you're doing at Yeti Tavern,
sure,
where people come in and they get such experience that they want to go back there next week. They want to keep going there. They want to tell their friends, family.
That's definitely part of it. And I think we've hit the issue where businesses, I know there's, Jordan's going out there and putting himself out there doing the poor choice. It's cool. It's great. It's even if you hate it, it's amazing. You get to go and you could have coffee and beer, and it's a cool location. It's downtown. Even if you didn't like it personally, you still can't say it's not great. You know what I mean? And that's a cool experience. And, Old Town Pizza doing the move, they made it bigger. And people complain, I liked it better. That's great. But as far as I'm concerned, that business can go through and have more employees, and it can service more people and help bring more people out and about to experience their community. That's a win. I don't care if you don't like the rooftop bar. It's not the same color you wanted it. Those are all business owners doing their part, but there's still that community disconnect where you can't get people on board, and it's so weird. That I don't know how to drag residents out,
What do you think is going to be the perception, or what has been the feedback so far of like people when they found out?
People are thankful. I mean, people are glad someone's doing something with it, which is wonderful. And I've honestly had an outflow of just people that I barely knew, and they took the time to reach out. And that was very like, I guess it was kind of enlightening a little bit, because I kind of just, sometimes you feel like people don't notice as much, and they do, which is really great. And it was the first time I've actually had the city, usually we're always at opposition, and that's that dragging people out problem. It was the first time I've really haven't had like the pitchfork mob kind of upset about something, because they go online, everyone gets upset, they don't like something. And I get it when it's justified, but sometimes it's always a little over top. This is the first time that I've personally experienced just all positive. There was nothing negative. I didn't hear a negative thing. I heard I read everyone's comments. I didn't reply to any of them because I stay off Facebook. I read, I lurk, but I don't reply.
Mm-hmm.
But I literally saw so many positive comments. I was like, wow, like I was impressed. I would do it over again just for that. I thought that was very monumental because I feel like people are disconnected from our downtown. They don't notice what's going on. And for that to happen, well, that was really cool. That's a need. We're filling a niche. We're moving things forward. So that was super beneficial for me. I mean, I thought that was great.
That's
a step
awesome.
in the right direction.
Yeah. That's so cool.
I mean, I don't know how you see downtown. Do you see them as negative? I mean, do you see like a negative at all or no?
I do always feel like there's something lacking to really be this like vibrant little town where people just want to come together, and that's why when I heard Jordan's story and what he's trying to do with that other place, the Mickey's Boots
when you
building,
Boots,
like I love that because I feel like maybe that's kind of what it will take is like for a little bit, younger generation, people with vision to come out, out of wherever they're at, and start, doing things in this community because I sense and I see a lot of it is like, hey, I don't want no new, not like new action or new people coming in here and disturbing how things were for like this many years. So I'm not going to do anything and I'm not going to let you and you and you do anything. Like, I don't like that.
And it
doesn't get us anywhere.
And that's slowly going away, I think. But it's still there. Like we attend, politics stuff and everything for the local politics.
Yeah.
We go and attend stuff and you still get people stand up and it's amazing. You can build just amazing things. And it could be built out of gold. And they would be like, why is that gold not my favorite shade of gold? And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, and you're like, it doesn't matter. There's always someone's upset. But I think the town's finally changed a little bit in the sense that like, people used to listen to that. And now I think people really realize, why are you stopping us from being better, from being as great as we can?
Yeah.
Yeah. If we can just get the businesses to stay open past 5, I'd be 6 o'clock. I'm only asking for 6 o'clock, just 6 p.m.
It might take a little while for that change to happen.
But that's that disconnect I feel.
Yeah.
Just have that. What is it? I mean, I can open stuff and Jordan can open stuff and the other people can open things and create things, but it just never feels like it's like a bad circuit. There's always that little spark you just can't get across,
Yeah, I think if there would be more thinking in like, what does this community need? Can I create something that there's actually a need for? Not like, okay, I'm here to make money. These are the days and the hours that I decide that I'm going to be open, whether it works for the community, for people or not. Too bad, so sad. I'm going to do what and that's maybe, that kind of approach. Yeah, is always going to be
that's my
struggling.
Though. That's always my heartbreak. Cause like, I always feel like if you do it well enough, no one's perfect, but if you do something and you go out with the best intentions, you'll get the repayment you need. It'll make sense. Sometimes the Wells Fargo building's funny because everyone's like, what are you doing exactly? I'm like, you think that I did this I know exactly what I'm doing? I was like, that's very ambitious of you. Cause like, I don't have a clue. I have general ideas what I wanted. I ran some scenarios. Like I know what I feel I want to do. Most of it's going to probably take place, but there was never like people just, if I didn't have a definitive plan, I's dotted, T's crossed, I wouldn't even think about it. And I said, wow, that's really sucks, man.
Yeah.
Like I want to come in and just be like, we have an ice cream shop. Great example. You sit there, you sell ice cream. I never knew how much people really love mint chip. I knew they liked it, but it's like character defining. Mint chip, like there's people that will literally just not show up if you don't have it. So what do? You carry more mint chip. That's what you do. I never thought I was going to carry as much. When I first ordered ice cream, I ordered one of these, one of these, one of these. Now we order one of those. We order none of those. We order 5 of these. But it's not for me. It's for the community. I can't eat 5 things of mint chip. I do it because that's what everybody in town wants. I want to. It seems like basic business, but it's really just serving that community. And once you find the things they need, you'll fill that void, and I guess you get rewarded for it. But my reward is I want to do my part for the city. So as long as I can make that better, that's a win. And so with the Wells Fargo building, it's we felt a big push on that is retail. I think our retail is questionable at best. I think that we have people that want to do and go, and they don't have the option. So we're kind of really looking into this micro retail thing. I feel like places like the Gold Country Mall could be much better if they were just, I think you get such a reward if you just 25% less greed on that and just really just gave that opportunity. And I think that opportunity is will pay tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're working on, stuff like that. So I think that's a way to bring community together for that.
So when you say we, you, who's we? You and your business partner? Or?
We? No. I say we like me and the community.
Okay,
I always fight on this community behalf.
Okay.
Like, I'm pretty free, able to make my own decisions on stuff. But when I reference business stuff, especially in the place I live, it's a we. Because if you don't go there and you don't buy anything, well, I failed.
Mm-hmm.
We have to work as a team. That's how it works. I mean, that's how business works. I mean, you might say, me and my business partner, or myself and what I want. Well, it has nothing to do with what you want. I don't care if you love cat statues, man. If there's no market for cat statues, and we as a whole don't buy cat statues, you're not going to be the cat statue guy for long, And so it's very, I don't know. I've got a really possessive approach to it of a team. I think it's where it goes.
Do you have some sort of an idea of what the community would appreciate for what this building will have?
Yeah, I think so. The micro retail thing is great. I think we can get more storefronts, legitimate looking storefronts. The more storefronts we have, the less dead it will feel, the less that disconnect will happen. And if we do enough of them, we get the Mickey's Boots project done. That'll be a nice storefront. We'll get some nice updated storefronts. Eventually, people have to follow suit. They just you don't have a choice because eventually business will push to the nicer storefronts, and you're going to want to chase some of that success. And eventually, we all end up building to whatever that new idea is. And then the other thing I think is that I look at myself. There's nowhere I can go and enjoy like a nice drink in town. Like there's a couple places. I think, a really legitimate bar place would be nice. I think a place for families would be nice. I think there's a way to do a bar restaurant type setup that really drives where, during the daytime, families can have a great time. I want families to go through, I'm very impressed with the station. I think the station's amazing. I mean, I will give it to Tyler. I never thought that a dirt parking lot, I always call it a dirt parking lot. It's so bad. I don't even say that. I just never thought there was that much of a drive for people to go drink outside. Personally, that's me. I just misread that completely. And I thought if I go out, I want air conditioning, I want shade, and I want this. And it's really been a testament to like how people here want to go. They don't mind doing stuff, but they want to do it outside. They want to experience that. The things that make this area beautiful. They want to be part of it, even if it's drinking and eating outside. And it's really great. I think that's super impressive. And that's a great community space. So I'd love to replicate something like that. Maybe a little more on the family side. I want to push for, I think it's hard. I have kids. It's hard for kids and families.
How old are your
to
kids?
Get them. They're 3 and 4, almost 3.
3 and 4. Oh, yeah. Still so young. Wow.
Yeah. They're little achievers. They're going for it. They're going for it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's chaos. How old are your kids? You have little kids?
My son, he's 10, and I have a daughter, 6.
Perfect.
So
is that a great age? Do I have something to look forward to, or am I?
Okay, so I'll tell you this: with my son, once they hit like 9 and 10, you begin to really notice that you just can't talk to him the way you did in prior years.
Yeah,
like they just like this, like, Dad, come on, like I know, okay, like, and you're like, whoa, with my daughter, so my son, he's like really kind of mellow, chill, sometimes he's reading, he's into his thing. My daughter, she's a firecracker, and she's like 5 times what my son is, and yeah, and this, and it's not just for me like that. For people I know who have kids, it's kind of similar, the son, especially if it's older boy, he's kind of more like quieter, the girl is just all crazy, but it's the fun type of crazy, when they're at that age, really want to be close to the father, and learn a lot, and you just realize when you're going through them being like, so like your kids are 3 and 4, it's like just enjoy this period, because it's going to be like this.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to be different. And you're going to look at those pictures or videos when they were 3 and 4. You're like, oh man, that's such a sweet little
They're
kid. You
so
know?
fun, man. I really have to say it. They're just like the best. I can't even, the things they say are great too. They're so funny. Probably my biggest supporter is my daughter. She's the older one, but my son's great too. He just looks at me and is like, Dad, I don't know what's going on, but this is all great. And my daughter's like, that kid's crazy. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. Like they know each other better than I know them, even, which is weird because they're a little team. But I couldn't. I almost imagine. I never like when they first had him. You never know what they're going to be like because you're always like, oh, my kid's going to be like. You can say whatever you want to in your head, but they're nothing until they exist. And then once they exist and grow up, you're like, oh, wow, that's how my daughter's going to be, or that's how my son's going to be.
Yeah,
coolest experience I've ever had.
Yeah. So Dallas, okay, most people in their life, in their career, they usually, have like certain plans. Finish school, go to college, get this degree, get this job. How has your kind of career been? Like, have you always been in business, or you stumbled upon doing business, or how was that journey like?
Oh man, this is honestly, I have no clue. I literally just wanted to have a good time. I think was it. We always have
somebody younger who's trying to do something in life, like they're not going to understand this.
I know. It's a hard thing to describe. I will say this. Long time ago, I had my dream job and it was that was life for me. I made it to my dream job and then it all fell apart. And that was probably the point the point in my life where I said, I'm never going to work for anybody ever again.
And how long ago was that?
Huh?
How long ago was that?
Oh, it was talking 15, 5, 7, math. I was never good at math. You're talking like 17 years ago? I don't know. Yeah, okay. About 17, 18 years ago now. And I realized very quickly how like my dream became my nightmare. And then I realized exactly what I would never do to other people. And then once I learned that, and then I learned you didn't have to be so serious about everything and you could still be successful and do things. And I could depend on myself. I think that was the turning point where I said, well, I could just, like in better words, figure this out. Like if it makes sense, it makes sense. And I think business is a great way for people to get ahead and to work for themselves, but it doesn't always have to be that way. Mm-hmm. And I think that, I think the plan built itself. It kind of just, I was forced into a corner. And then once I found that this was the direction I had to go, I just made it work.
So what did you start with?
So, my first thing was, gosh, what did I do first? I was always dabbling in things to see what you could like make money at, I guess. When you're younger, you have much more ambitions to do tons of crazy stuff and make little bits of money for little weird things, but it was really good. Where did I probably like get there? I think I would always buy and sell stuff off Craigslist when I was way younger. That was like,
and that's when you were in Napa?
Yeah, like I lived in Napa and near Fairfield. I lived in Fairfield and I had a regular job. And on the side, I would like do car stuff. I don't know. It was made sense. And then at some point in my life, I found pinball machines. This is really weird. I don't know if you know this. This would be great. So I found pinball machines and I always wanted a pinball machine for my house. So usually it's, if you want something and you can't afford it, then you have to figure it out. Like, that's just how it works. So pinball machines were thousands of dollars. And I was like, but one day I thought it'd just be so cool. You ever see the movie Big? Do you remember the movie Big? He had like a basketball hoop. It was like a Tom Hanks movie, but he had like a loft wherever in New York. No. He had like a basketball hoop. He had like a vending machine. It was like, like the weirdest like bachelor patty thing you could think of. And that's what like it made me think of. But like, I always wanted a pinball machine. So I bought this broken pinball machine. I now had to figure out how to fix it. So I fixed it and then I found out it wasn't that hard. Even that took me a long time. And slowly but surely I sold that game and I bought another game. And I bought 2 this time and I fixed them both and I sold them. And then my path kind of ended up being on this weird amusement games device. And I ended up for a long time buying and selling pinball machines and selling them. And I did a lot of pinball machines like, wow. But it's a weird niche. There's no competition. You're your own person. There's like 3 people you're competing with, and it's very easy to kind of get ahead. And the money was really good. So that was probably my big first business endeavor, I guess. That kind of just kept going. I always like did some real estate stuff here and there. I was never a realtor, but I bought the place I lived. I bought smart and just did the right adult choices at an advanced level. But that was my first probably like real legitimate business that got me going, was this buying and selling games. And now I have a pinball bar in Rockland. It's all pinball machines. That's expanding. I don't wholesale games anymore, but I used to be like a wholesaler. I'd buy truckloads of games and just
Video games?
figure it out. Yeah. I found a business partner on the way for that. And him and I are still friends, still business partners. And that was the gig, man. I don't know. I think that led to most everything that taught me. It gave me the option to learn and taught me more about what I needed to do, but it really gave me the option to have freedom and to go into other aspects. Yeah.
It's interesting because
So weird.
well, I get asked often by people like, okay, if I have an idea, I want to do something in life, I'm sick of this job, like, how do I get moving in the right direction as far as doing something in business? A lot of questions like that, and everybody's journey is so different.
Oh yeah.
It's like you cannot just say, hey, here's the blueprint, follow this blueprint, and you'll find success.
That's the business school. You pay for that one. You pay for the blueprint that gets you nowhere. But I get asked the same question. And I always tell people, I'm like, it sounds so cliche and it sounds so horrible, but I always say, find something you like, you'll never work a day in your life. And it's never that cut and dry, but it's always like, you'd be way more willing to work for way less money if you at least if you at least liked what you did. You'd be way more inclined to work in bad conditions and even you're working for yourself, because being a business owner is you always start with a horrible experience and it gets better, hopefully. Versus something you hate. If it's something you hate, it doesn't matter if they pay you all the money in the world. You're not going to want to do it. So there was never a solution there. So I always tell people when they start those businesses or just like, find something you like, or you won't be miserable stuck doing. Like, I like those games enough that I wasn't miserable. They were all over my house, man. There was like games that when my partner met me, she was just like, what is going on in this house? And I'm like, hear me out. This makes sense, I swear. But if you find stuff like that, I think that's where that blueprint originates from. You have to find the thing you're willing to just be stuck doing, I guess. And if you don't have that, if you can't do that or don't have the drive or you have nothing you like, it just won't happen. It's very hard to describe, but I think all of us business owners, you're a business owner. There's always been that time where people can think what they want. They can think you've made a ton of money. They can think you're rich. They can think this has happened, but there's been many a times, even as an adult, where I go through and I'm like, well, hope this week works out. A little bit stretched on this one. We'll see if it works out. I think it'll be fine. We all have stressful moments.
Yeah.
And, just because there's big things happening, like big bank buildings, doesn't mean there weren't days where you're like, oh, how am I going to pay for that? That'll be interesting. Well, if I just wait, it's a little closer than you think it is sometimes,
How do you deal with stress? I'm sure what's that?
Don't stress.
So no, I'm really interested to hear how you have evolved when it comes to things that you can't control, but you feel like something is coming and you are, most people, they stress and they lose sleep, but there are certain people that I observe who are in business and they're going through a lot of crap and you're like, they don't seem like they're stressed. They're like, I'll figure it out somehow, It's like, have you over time developed certain way of your thought process, how you deal with that?
Yeah, I just don't stress. It'll be, so back to the thing when someone says, how do I start my own business? Right. And you're trying to explain it. The blueprint doesn't exist. I always tell people, and it kind of plays hand in hand. I always say, put on paper, strengths, weaknesses, all that stuff. You just want to put it on paper so you can see it real quick. It doesn't even have to be a great list. It can be not complete. It doesn't have to be anything. It's just, I think when you write it down, it doesn't manifest itself, but you can just see it. And you can see if you like it, see if you don't like it. I think there's a term when you go through that process, you can also look at the hardships, right? Because when you write a business plan, you say, what are all the good things and what are all the bad things and how could I go wrong? I could pretty easily ask you, like, are you stressed out? And then you say, well, I'm stressed out because I go, great, that's nice. And it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, it could be very stressful, and sure, it can be stressful, but like 1 to 10, you gonna starve tomorrow? Probably not. And like housing gets stressful for sure, and it's definitely worse for other people sometimes. But like most of the time, the things we worry about, are we worrying about something real or worrying about something fake? Like, is it just, what are you worried about? I mean, I guarantee that most people are more worried about the fact that if someone doesn't like them or if they suck tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you fail. Maybe you fail and like your biggest concern is someone knew you failed. Who cares? Now, if it's a really bad failure, don't get me wrong. Like if you burn half the town down, you're gonna have no friends. I'm just saying. But if you drop the ball a little bit, the biggest thing is, oh, I messed up, man. I'm gonna have to go and 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I'm gonna have to go fix that. But there was like, did you stress over that? You still had to fix it. You still had to do it. So like, what was the point of all the stress? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. And like, I think that there was some point when I stopped working for other people and I could like manifest my own destiny, I guess, and just figure it out. I didn't matter anymore. The things I used to stress about when I had my dream job were just like, I'd be panicking. I did panic about stuff and I just had to do the best. And now it's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. And there's definitely days where I've stressed out and I'm like, well, rather not be dealing with this. But you still ate the next day and you still had your friends and you still had people you could depend on and you're still doing the thing that you like doing. So it doesn't matter if it's stressful, right? Because you like doing it. That's why you're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how can that be stressful? You chose to do it. You wanted to do it and you're doing things like, I don't know. It's relative, I think. Now, if you were a doctor and you hated being a doctor and you probably didn't want to go to surgery and help people because you're like, I don't like this. I don't like that. Well, it seems like you have some stress issues you need to work through, man. I don't know.
Yeah. When I think back about different things that I ever got involved in mainly in business stuff, and all those times where I thought it's over, this is it.
Oh, that was it?
And now I think back and I'm like, but I got through those things. I'm fine. I got out. Like I shouldn't have stressed, and I really did. Like I'm the kind of person who used to take everything really, really like seriously. Oh, yeah. And something is not working out, or I'm always thinking about it, processing it. And I over time I've developed this kind of thought process where it's like, look, I've gone through this, I've gone through that, and at the end of the day, everything works out, and it's not worth it, because then it just affects your relationships, the way you are towards everything else that you're doing, it's completely paralyzing, so.
No, I get it. Yeah. I mean, I think if I did the things I did and carried the stress with me that the people would like suffer from, I said, there's no way I wouldn't get anything done. I wouldn't be able to do it. And I really applaud everyone that is able to do it. And there's tons of people that deal with stresses every day that I'll never have to deal with because of just their careers and jobs. And it's amazing they can go through it every day and like pull through it. Like I could never be a firefighter. I just couldn't. They'd be like buildings burning right inside. I'm like, oh bro, man, like not for me. That would stress me out. And there's guys that go and do it. And they've found a way to not even deal with the stress. They just don't have stress. Like we see stress in those situations because they enjoy doing it. They embrace it. They're also professionals at it. I'm not a firefighter, not a surgeon. Those things would all stress me out. So I think if you take an honest approach in what you're doing, you shouldn't have a ton of stress.
True. That's so true.
Yeah.
So on your journey in different businesses that you're involved in, can you share maybe one thing that you failed in that you're like, this could be a good lesson for someone who is also in the process of building a business, maybe has a similar experience?
I failed in the same thing I fail in today. And I don't ask for help enough when I need to. And I don't seek out. I think there's nothing wrong. When I was younger, and I still do it, so it's fine. At some point you say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And it's cool, it's great, you can do it all, and that's wonderful. But at some point, you can't do it as well as others. So maybe you should have hired that person to help you with that. Because at some point, like, you look at, oh, I don't need that guy. I can do it. Why pay him $200 a month? Because I could do this. And you're like, oh, I'm doing good at business, right? And oh, we're going up. Look. But then you wasted all this time doing it and you're not good at it. So you're okay at it. You didn't fail, but you're not great at it. And someone else is better. It's like the realtor argument. I get people all the time. They're like, why do you need a realtor? And I'm like, because I can go, that's the address. This is what I want. Now it's your problem. And they will go do all of that stuff. I don't care what form I have to sign. They give it to me and say, here you go. And I'm familiar with them, but I'm not on top of it like someone does it every day. So was it worth the money? I don't know. Probably was to me. Same thing with a tax person. Same thing with just even labor. Like, I hire labor. I love my employees. They're all wonderful. And we hire some of the greatest people for sure. But I still saw people that like, oh, there's not enough money to pay them. I go, well, there is. They go, well, then we wouldn't make any money. I say, but you could give someone a job and then maybe you didn't make any money, but now you're able to have all that time back to go work on your business. Like, wouldn't that be more beneficial? Like, you can't teach them how to inspire whatever it is you're selling, but you could go do that, And I think that it goes back to the same thing. If you don't ask for help, you just put yourself at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
We have to pay people for help and all that. But like, I think there's a point, you can buy some time, I guess, but it's really just, I don't think I ask for help when I need to. And I've been more embracing that lately. I definitely, it's not just, I think it's a great idea, we're going to do it. I say, I think it's a great idea. Can I go sell it to one of my friends? And I want to pitch it to them. And they say, that's really cool, man. But however, you really like this, but like, why not this? And I might explain. They might be like, oh, I'm wrong. But, thanks for explaining it to me. Now they know something better, which is good for everybody. Or you say, but why are you so stuck on this? Well, I don't know. I just really like it. And they go, well, is that what you should be doing? Like what you really like? I'm like, well, but I really like it. And they go, but people really like this. And I say, well, I'm kind of here for the people. So maybe this is what we're doing instead. I'll just put my ideas aside. I have I'll tell you a ridiculous one I'm working on now, but it's just, I think that's the biggest failure is I don't ask for help. And I still don't sometimes. And that's, if you could do anything, go ask someone successful. I used to be bitter about successful people. I used to look at people and be like, why are they rich or why are they whatever? Like, and you want to be strong and you want to be whatever. And you're like, oh, forget them. Like, I could do this. Dumbest thing I've ever done. Go ask people why they're successful. I don't know. Someone dresses better than you and you want to dress better? Go find the nicest dressed person and be like, all right, man, where'd you figure this out? Listen, you're going to look better walking down the street than I am. I wear like basketball shorts every day. Like, I'm just that guy. That's not my drive. But if I'm looking, I'm going to go to a professional or someone that does better than me. And then you learn from it. And that's, gosh, no one wants to learn from it. They just want to do it on their own. So prideful. And it's cool, but
that's so true. Yeah.
It's just a dead end street. You're only going to know what you know.
I was recently talking to a business guy. He's in the commercial real estate space. And he told me, he's like, when I was starting out in this business, he said the phrase like, one thing I realized is that I have to keep on firing myself. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, every time I would analyze, what am I doing? What kind of tasks am I doing? And I'm like, why am I doing them? I can hire somebody, I can delegate these certain tasks, and then I could focus on the bigger picture, on the vision, on improving, different things, relationships and all that. And he's like, that's, I figured that out earlier in my, business journey, and it made a lot of sense for me. So, I think I'm kind of in a similar situation. Like, I always try to figure out things myself.
Yeah.
But whenever I did find the courage to go and ask or reach out to someone, I never got rejected.
No.
People.
But wasn't it so easy too? You're sitting here and you're like, you're racking your brain over whatever it might be. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to look dumb. I'm going to ask. And they're like, oh, you're doing that? They're like, bro, that was like, hold on. Check this out. And they give you the one website or the one thing. I was like, I read this one chapter of this book. It fixed all of it. Like, I had the worst problem with that too. But like, all of us in the know, we don't do that. And you're like, well, I feel dumb. Didn't know it was a thing. And you just learn things from those interactions. And you think, sometimes it's like, maybe it's you don't want to be wrong. Maybe it's that, but it's like, I think it's a measure of success if you can go searching for answers and find them and they're better than your own. I think it's a measure of success because like even the restaurants and all the other stuff, I always tell people, the firing yourself thing's always good, but I literally strive that I think my employees are better than me most of the time, and I want them to be, and I want them to feel successful, and I don't mind walking my own business and being like, where's this? And we go, oh, dude, you designed it. Like, what do you mean, where is it? And I go, I don't know. I haven't been here. You guys do everything. So where is this? And I want to be the worst person that serves you at my own place, 100%. I want to be great, but if I can be the worst and they're better at me, what a measure of success. They took my information and they learned something and they went with it. And it's just a perfect proof of what I should do. I should go and get information from someone else and go with it, and it's great. Firing yourself is the best. You should fire yourself all the time. This podcast is fun, right?
What's that?
If you fire yourself from real estate, you could do this every day.
I know. And I love doing this.
See?
Actually.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I've been over a year before I started, I really wanted to do it. And it was just kind of putting it, somewhere into the future, maybe someday, and then at one time it's just, I just got to start.
Yeah.
You got to start. And
were you worried?
At first?
Yeah.
About what?
I don't know. Were you worried?
I was not worried. I just, figured out that I have to go through the process of doing my first 20, 30, 40 episodes.
Oh, yeah.
I just got to get through it, and I knew that, at the very beginning, it's going to be weird. It's like, how do you keep the conversation flowing? How do you ask the right questions so that it's not a super boring interview, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Different people come on, some people are very knowledgeable and they're just natural. Others are like, their answers are like one sentence and then you're like, oh crap, I gotta move on, and then you're so at the beginning, like you're kind of navigating, trying to figure out. But the sooner you start, the faster you're gonna get through all those,
of course,
the learning curve, So what is your vision of the ideal Auburn town?
The vision. Oh man,
if it was up to you.
This puts you in a weird spot though, because if you say anything about this, you might get the crowd against you. Because I want to identify any which way, but if we could have, I don't even care if it's functioning. If we could have a place where other people visit, and even if it's not real, it could be the Disneyland. I don't care. If they visit and say, I could just move here right now. Like, this is just the spot. That would be it. I mean, if they could walk down the street and like we hit very brief points when there's like Christmas time, everyone's out, they're trying to shop local. You got, all the businesses decide to stay open past 6. They stay open until 6. Sorry. They'll stay open the 1 extra hour and go the extra mile to actually have people that work till 5 to come shop at their stores. They'll do that, and there's a blissful moment where everyone's out and about, and it's just a functioning town. And if it was functioning enough where everyone could come through and just be like, wow, I just sell my house a second, move here. My job's not that great. I could just come live up here and work.
That's gonna give me more business.
I know. Well, you should watch these podcasts. Really great place. Happens to also be a realtor. Just side note. No, but yeah, I think, that's a function of it too. Like you going out of your way doing this. Perfect example. You come and do this. And it's funny because everyone's got to do something and it's something you enjoy. But it really helps paint a picture where people that don't live here can see what it's like. They can see the things, the ideals. And at the same point, you might just be a realtor. But at what point are you just a realtor? At what point are you part of the community? At what point, like I would say this is part of the community. I would say this is finding people homes is a wonderful thing. But this is like helping find people a home. And I think when we can bridge the gap where it's not so much just the business owners, like there's a few of us trying to do it, but we can really make it where people can like have that sense of like, this is my downtown. And there's places to have it. I mean, you can go to they're bigger cities for sure, but when I grew up, I was in Napa as a kid. And we lived in this neighborhood, and it was just like that was our neighborhood. And that neighborhood had a feel. We had a market. We had not a ton of stuff, but it was just enough to give it that real identity. Mm-hmm. If we could get back to having an identity like that, that'd be the ticket. I feel like we get people to come for stuff. We get people to come for outdoor stuff. Cool. It's great. It's good for the community. It's not against it, but it never feels like I just wish we could all get together on the same page and really have those community events. We have lots of community events. Some are better than others, but I just feel like you never get it where, especially after COVID, the community really gets together and says, hey man, we're all going out. We're all going to go do this. And that's, if we just get on the same page and all get out there and do those events together, I mean, I think that's the win. I think we've really done it at that point. It's always a feeling.
Yeah.
But I want a productive, happy downtown, people that live and work here. It all goes with it. But I think you have to get to that feeling point, But it's one job at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll try. I'll give 2 more. Someone else can give 2 more. Maybe we'll get there.
I'm sure that a lot of people appreciate your contribution and what you're doing. I'm really glad that I finally met you.
I know. It's
heard great things about you. But I think this would be probably a perfect ending.
Perfect.
This conversation. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for what you do, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. If you like this video, here's another one for you to watch. And if you don't want to miss the next video, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button.